This is the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us back in studio is my good friend Mark Morris. Mark is one of my favorite people to be around. This is somebody that totally immerses himself in nature, whether it's through his professional skiing career or writing music as the frontman for the band Rapid Grass. Mark's music and his skiing has taken him all over the world. I always enjoy sitting down and spending some time with my friend Mark. This was a great episode, and I hope you enjoy the listen. Mark Morris, welcome back, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
It's great to see you again. Fresh back from Alaska, just bombing some fresh snow out there, huh?
Yeah, I went up there before Halloween, and we got up there like right as some of those lakes froze over, so we were able to ice skate some of the.
I saw that video.
Super thin ice.
That was unbelievable, man.
So cool.
Jeremy, you got to pull this up, man. This is like
I was watching it earlier.
Were you?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What? So that was in Alaska?
Yeah.
It looks like a Zamboni went over that lake. I mean,
in the Guinness Book of World Records?
No.
Yeah, it totally froze, and then when it freezes that fast, it kind of.
I think go back up. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
it's down the second row, third one over.
Yeah, when it freezes that fast, it kind of, with no wind, it kind of like creates this glass effect.
That is unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable.
That is so cool.
And I just posted a few little things on it, but so yeah, we got up there and it was kind of cold.
Oh, kill the sound because we'll get pulled on copyright stuff.
And,
sorry.
What?
Yeah, so we.
Whoa, that's crazy. Is that a cutthroat? I didn't see this part of the video.
That was a lake trout.
Wow.
Yeah.
It did freeze fast.
So yeah, it froze fast, and then I was up there for a few weeks, and by the time I left, there was like 4 feet of snow.
Dude, run.
They had this like massive storm, and
So did you plan on doing this? I mean, you brought skates with you, or
no,
how did this work out?
It was just by dumb luck. I'm an ice skater. I like to do this wild ice skating like that in Colorado, and we got up there, and I had seen that people were ice skating up on this particular lake, and so the day I got there, I mean, it was like summertime up there. It was so beautiful all day, which is pretty rare in Alaska to have like a splitter day like that with no clouds. And I just kind of had like one of those magical days. And so I went up like a few times, and then the storm came in and it snowed literally 4 feet.
Really?
So it went from like ice skating season to ski season, like literally overnight.
God, that's so epic. Is that at sunrise or sunset?
Well, the sun kind of sits low in the sky this time of year. So I think we were up there early evening, but I didn't stay up until dark. I think that was like early evening day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I sent that to my friend Scott Parker, who used to play for the Avalanche, and he goes, God, that looks like a dream I had one time or something. You know, like it's pretty cool. So you say wild ice skating. Do you like skate alpine lakes here at all? Or?
Yeah, totally.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, me and my brother Timmy, that's like for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, it's kind of become a hobby. Like go up there and...
What, you just start shoveling snow and then...
Well...
they get blown out, I guess, right?
If the ice happens to be like perfect like that, it usually settles up and freezes without any wind and without any snow. And that's when you get that like glass effect. And like right now, now is the season in Colorado to do it. And sometimes the ice doesn't freeze up the way you want it to, but sometimes you luck out and like get those super magical experiences.
That's epic, man. Nature is so fucking cool, man. Like it is.
It's so cool.
If you take advantage of it, right? Like if you don't, then like I wouldn't. Yeah. It's cool that you're sharing these experiences too, I think, because like I got so much joy out of that video and I wasn't even there, man. It's super cool. It's an incredible picture right there with the mountain in the background. The ice is, how thick do you think the ice was? Was it dangerously thin at that point?
Yeah, in spots for sure.
Really?
Yeah, and like,
So what do you look out for then?
well, I can't remember the exact math, but I think it's for every 2 inches of ice, it can hold like 200 pounds. And then it's kind of like a,
So you don't bring your big friends like me, right?
Well, dude, I just saw the guys out here. I just got back in town from a couple of weeks, and I'm like, man, they're out there already.
They were out there early this year. I was like, whew.
Yeah, he kind of seemed hairy,
Yeah.
but they were out.
yeah, that's actually when the ice is the best, is when it's kind of thin like that. But then you can see, like yesterday I was out on Georgetown Lake, kind of scoping the scene, and it was probably only 2 inches thick, but I was scaring a bunch of fish that were under me.
Really?
That's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have videos of bigger lake trout from that particular lake. Love fish swimming around. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah, so just
Have you
got
ever
back
done
from
any
there.
rivers at all? Like
Yeah.
downhill, like type ice skating stuff?
Totally, and that was actually my plan. There's all these like rivers in Alaska, like meandering rivers that don't flow fast enough to have a rapid. And I kind of wanted to get on one of those. I've seen people use like a kite surfing setup and ice skate and get drugged by the
Really?
by the kite. And
I get it in water, but that seems a little sketch, and especially when you're dealing with trees and like all kinds of other stuff, right? There's
well,
all
yeah,
kinds of elements.
I think you like get rid of the. I think if you have enough kite control, you can do it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm kind of learning some kite skills. I went down to Baja last year and kind of got my feet wet with kite surfing. So hopefully, I can get enough skills to kite skate.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my next. But
These guys are crazy,
do it.
man. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the videos? And maybe I shouldn't show them to you, but where the guys literally just get picked up and like slammed into a beach, 600
yeah.
feet away.
Oh yeah, it's real, and that happens on the water. When I was like getting my feet wet with the kite surfing, I got launched a few times. But yeah, this is my next step here.
Is this guy on ice? I
Yeah.
guess he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, on
shit.
skates.
Yeah.
kite
It's insane.
surfing on ice. Yeah, that's my next move here.
And I guess you
Sam.
could just reel that in to go a little bit slower, more technical.
Yeah, because the kite is so powerful, but it's also very nimble. So you don't have to go super fast. If you have enough kite control, you can kind of choose your speed. You're not like, yeah,
You're not just holding on for dear life.
yeah, totally. If you have those kite skills, you can kind of work your way back and forth.
So you would incorporate that on a river? Is that what you were thinking? Or
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, or on a lake.
yeah.
It just kind of makes adds a little element of awesomeness.
Red Bull does all those like crazy sports. Like I worked for them for a while, and we would do like the Flutog thing where like people made these homemade. It was awesome. They made these like homemade gliders basically, and we would launch them off of a pier in San Francisco. It was like kind of like a bobsled type fuselage, I guess, with wings on it, and then they would just run and get in this thing, and it would just careen off into the bay, right? And the further that you flew, the more chances you had of winning, or it was judged or something. I don't remember, but they did all kinds of stuff like that. But something that I saw that they were recently doing is like, I think it's called like ice skating cross or something, and it's downhill, like at a ski resort.
Yeah.
And they do ice, and there's jumps, and they're racing each other and like elbowing each other and stuff. It's pretty wild.
That's extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an extreme. But I think that's a lot of my cup of tea. But
Yeah, I don't think I'd be into
I don't think you're
this.
the dude for that.
Yeah.
but the kite skating is definitely on my radar.
Would kite skiing be a thing at all? Is there
Totally.
anybody that does
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Because I would think that makes more sense to me than
Yeah, but at that point in the game, you know, like alpine skiing, I think
You have enough momentum already.
Yeah,
right?
we've already figured that sport out.
Yeah.
You could add a wing, you know, like a mini wing, and do some. I have some friends that do mini wing skiing.
So is it like a wing suit then, or
No, it's like
Okay.
imagine like a paraglider kite, like a canopy, but a very small canopy, and then so you have to be going pretty fast to make that canopy work, and then you can fly off of cliffs, and then at that point you're flying. Yeah, people do it all the time. I was trying to get my paragliding skills down, but you know I have so much other stuff going on that it takes a pretty big commitment, because you don't want to be like half-assing it. Yeah, I know this.
Yeah,
kid.
no, you don't.
Yeah, so this is kind
That's
of
wild, man.
Yeah, it's kind of it's just adding another little element to the
You get
game.
down the mountain a lot faster. That's for damn sure.
He's on a
You're
pair
not
of,
enjoying much.
he's on a pair of Icelandic Seekers.
Is he?
I helped design that ski.
Hell yeah! Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, that's the Seeker. That's sweet. Yeah, so that's like another thing you could do. I've got some friends that are doing that. now.
Stop it. That's insane.
Completely.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you are a busy individual with everything that you have going on. You know, how do you kind of manage your time between skiing and writing music? And people that haven't listened to the last podcast, and I'll mention this in the intro, but professional musician, professional skier. There's so much more too that you do. Ultra running, I think, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of running. I used to do a lot more, but I have my knees are not what they used to be. So I have to scale back my running. I actually have to plan like days of the week so I can get proper rest for running. But yeah, I mean, I've spent the last 25 years, I guess, pursuing skiing and music at the same time, which is pretty cool because they both complement each other like really well. People in the ski industry want music, and people in the music industry want to bring that kind of culture into their crowds and stuff. So festivals like Winter Wondergrass happen, and or I'll go on a ski trip and they'll invite me because I'm hoping I'll bring my instrument, and play some music. So yeah, it kind of all just winds together. It's pretty crazy.
So do you have like a set schedule like for the year where it's like, okay, these months I'm concentrating on music or writing music, or I'm in the studio, or how do you manage it all? Is it just kind of like, you seem like a very like go with the flow type of person?
Yeah.
To me, and the times that I've hung out with you, that's how it kind of goes down. Like,
yeah,
you're so successful, man. It's just, I think it's a talent in itself to manage that.
Yeah, I think with the music thing, it's like, I'm like still learning. I'm still like nowhere near where I want to be as a musician. So I'll spend, an hour or two every day kind of working on my musicianship. And that's whether I'm like on the road or whatever. And then I just get opportunities present themselves, and 9 times out of 10, I usually take them. And so, I'll look at my calendar and be like, I got to be here and here and here and here. And then I get a little downtime. So when I have a little downtime, I'll work on, maybe recording stuff or making a video. And then songwriting kind of happens. It's kind of something you got to work on almost every day too. You got to always be just working on it. And, you find time during the day. Like I just, we just threw out our TV
Yes.
because I was like, oh man, I was spending way too
Suck
much
you
time.
in, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I was like watching all these things. I was like, oh man, I'm wasting all this time watching all this TV when I could be maybe like working on songwriting, for example, or something, you know. So
When you're creative, a TV is not the best thing for you, right? I mean,
no, yeah, it's
maybe
addicting
you can
too.
watch some inspiring stuff. I guess my new addiction is learning. Like that's
nice.
what I've like that and trying to work on my physical fitness. Like
nice.
that's what I've turned into my new addictions, I guess.
Nice.
And trying to be a good dad. I mean, but that's something I have to do. There's no trying in that. It's like I have to be a good dad. Like in my mental premise, I guess. But yeah, TV is a time suck. Like people ask me all the time, have you watched Yellowstone or have you watched this or that? And like the only time I really sit down and enjoy TV is when I'm with, if it's a family event, right? Like if the kids want to watch like a movie, like last night we did actually sit down and watch a movie, which doesn't happen very seldom in our house. Like normally the kids will have something on or something like that, but we watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because they know that I love it. They're like, Dad, it's that time of year. Are we going to watch it or not? You know, I was like, all right, let's do it. So I think that there's a time and a place for it, but God, you can get sucked into some shows, you know, like and I get sucked into, my new addiction is listening to audiobooks while I go to bed.
Oh, nice.
But it helps my mind kind of shut off too. I've found that like,
it's not bad.
Yeah. And if it's something that I'm interested in, you know, it's
you could be learning at the same time.
yeah. And it's great because like Audible's got a timer. So I'll set like a 30-minute timer. And normally I'm out in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm not like 7 hours into a book. I'm like, shit, where was I, you know? So yeah, no, it is a definite time suck when you get down to it. And I guess I just recently in the last couple of years since I've really started this, it's like, I don't know. I have something to create all the time, or there's better ways to spend my time. I'd rather be outside or doing some photography or shooting my bow or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm into. So yeah, good on you. I didn't throw out my TV though. Just took it straight to the dump or what?
It's like a John Prine song.
Yeah.
Throw out your TV.
Hell yeah. You should write a song about it.
What John Prine?
Yeah, all right. Oh, that's wild. So what was like kind of the catalyst for that? Were you addicted to a certain show or a certain...
Oh, no. I was just, these last few weeks, I've just decided to just like focus on more important things. And one of them is, you know, if I watch an hour of music, if I just don't watch TV, if I focus on an hour of music, it's just in the long run, I think it's just more valuable.
Yeah.
Than just kind of chilling by the TV.
Right. I guess that's kind of, I guess I take in some podcast occasionally, like not too much anymore. Cause I found myself like, and actually the public called me out on it a couple times. They're like, you're a copycat of so-and-so. But like, you know, when you hear something, sometimes you'll say something back, or if you've learned something, you want to share it. Right. And do a lot of talking on the podcast. Like I probably talk, 6 hours a week, Jeremy, publicly, something like that.
Yeah. Or more to me.
Yeah. But I'm saying like that's recorded, like people can sit there and critique you, right? Like they would critique music or be a music critic. So yeah, I was like, okay, well maybe I'm listening to too much of this influence or that influence. So I've just like kind of shelved it. I was like, audiobooks are a better.
Yeah, I think a lot of comics do that too, where they'll like disappear so that they're not in the same.
So they're not
as
influenced.
other people.
Yeah.
Because my God,
like I have a routine.
Getting called out on something like that's got to be horrifying.
It is, dude. It's like, fuck, dude, I didn't mean it that way. And yes, I did hear it, and unfortunately, I didn't give credit where credit was due when I said it, but it was an accident,
why would
you know, like it was a straight up accident, man. Like I didn't, it was I don't know. Anyways, we don't even need to go down that road, but now I have like a daily routine before I come in and record, just like Do you have any sort of routines like to get out and ski or something before you write music, or like, because I found for me cognitively, I want to come in here in my best state of mind.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I have somewhat of a routine, I guess. I travel a lot, so it's kind of hard to like settle into a constant routine.
That's the worst. Or I mean, it's the hardest to.
But I do, even if I'm on the road, like I always like to, for example, get my cardio up for like 40 minutes and then do some kind of like muscle workout. And I always like to practice at least an hour of technical music a day. And then beyond that, just depends on the day, you know. But those are kind of, it doesn't matter if it happens in the morning or at night. I like to practice music in the morning because I think my mind is more alert. And then I usually like to do like some kind of physical cardio and body work or whatever, usually in the early evening. And that's just the way, yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely more creative in the morning. Like all my good ideas come like when nobody's up, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're up before everybody, I feel like there's some creative stuff that can happen. Like if you have time to get up and go through your routine or whatever.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who like to do like workouts in the morning, and I've tried that, and I've tried it pretty consistently, but the evening is just better for me for that.
Yeah, I'm a morning or a midday workout person for sure. The thing that I'm having the most trouble with doing in the morning that I really want to do is cold exposure therapy.
Oh yeah.
Like that just sucks. I can't do it when I first wake up. Like, I don't know. I just need to get over that hump, I guess. Especially now that it's getting colder.
Yeah.
The cold plunge is a little bit colder than, or the stock tank rather.
Yeah.
It's a little bit colder than it was this summer. So you got to grow a pair to get into it, you know?
Yeah.
But even when I do it like I did it this afternoon and I feel fucking great, you know, still, but I find it's harder for me to go to sleep at night because I think you get so much, like, I don't know if it's adrenaline or norepinephrine or I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it makes me feel good, awake, like alive, that sort of thing. It lets you know you're alive. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's for a routine, I don't have like a set routine where I'm like, this is what I do every day. It kind of is dependent on what I have to get done. So like if I need to be in here to get files off to the editors or whatever it is, you know, it's just kind of, it's dependent on the day, especially with kids too. Like I got to run them around so they can pursue their dreams and stuff too. So you got to fit it in wherever you can. But yeah, I don't know. What has been the hardest part of what you do as a professional athlete? Is it the strength and conditioning side of it and keeping up with that, or?
Yeah, I would say, just like managing, strength and conditioning and managing injuries as you kind of get older. Because I hurt my knees really bad when I was in my 20s. So like I was saying, I kind of pick and choose the days that I trail run. I used to just trail run every day. And now I limit myself to like 4 days a week trail running because it's just better for my knees. But as an athlete, I think staying light is like really key. So I'm actually, this last week, I actually dropped 10 pounds this last like 10 days, I think. And then I'm going to do like 5 more. so that it takes a lot of stress off my knees when it comes.
Oh, I've noticed that big time with my weight loss, like tremendously.
Yeah, it's just better for your joints.
Yeah.
So I try to get like super lean this time of the year, while doing like strength training, and then.
How are you tailoring off the weight? Is it?
It's all
just
basically diet. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the summertime when I'm touring, playing music and stuff, I don't really have the option to eat healthy. But when I'm at home, I can kind of do a lot of healthy eating. And I have always done that intermittent fasting thing ever since I've just always lived that way. Just that's the way my body goes. So yeah, you just have to get on a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
So you have to like burn more calories than you ingest, and then you add a lot of protein. I've been doing like weight training, trying to get build some more strength. But yeah, basically I'm just trying to get lighter so that when it comes down to time to really ski a lot, because I'll be skiing like 8 hours a day or whatever, it'll just relieve a lot of that pressure on my joints.
Yeah, that's a hard balance, man, especially if you're doing weight training, because you tend to like gain weight almost sometimes. Like, because you start putting on muscle mass and it's pretty dense, you know? Like,
it weighs a lot more.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of body weight stuff lately and I've been able to maintain my weight, but I don't know if it's just my build or my genetics, but like if I start going crazy, which I want to do, I start putting on muscle mass like pretty fast.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
No.
Yeah.
But I just get heavier, and then it's harder for me to be like, I notice it because I'm running at least 1.5 miles a day. But I've been doing it Tabata style. So it's like 20-second sprint intervals, basically, with 10 seconds of rest in between on one of the Assault runners. So it's like the curved treadmill, and that, because I can't get on the regular treadmill. That is like super hard on my joints, even though it's like some cushioning. It just feels like that, like you're clunking along, you know? Like that's why I enjoy, in the summer, I'll trail run, but I have a hard time doing it on ice.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother. Do you run on icy trails too?
Well, yeah, the trail that is right by my house it's icy now, but it goes up probably like 1,500 feet over. I think it's like a 4.5 mile round trip. So it's kind
it's
of
a pretty good incline.
Yeah. So I try to run as much as I can, but some of the time I'm hiking. But I'm kind of training myself to do more like skinning, like mountaineering type of stuff, because I have a lot of mountaineering trips here in the near future that I have to prepare for.
Nice. So is that skin in, ski out type of trips?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And for people that are listening to this that maybe don't ski or haven't been backcountry skiing, skinning in is basically you're going in on, God, why am I drawing a blank right now? Like you're going in, it's not slalom skiing. Why cross country kind of style, right? Like
it's still alpine skiing.
Right.
But your heel releases from the binding. And so you can walk up the mountain, kind of like almost like you have snowshoes on, but you have what they used to use is seal skin. They would put seal skin on the bottom of their skis, and so it sticks to the snow, so you're not sliding. And then you peel it off at the top, and then you can alpine ski down. But now, it's mostly nylon and like a glue. And so, you're basically climbing up the mountain with your skis on your feet, and then ski down. Yeah.
Yeah, the fun part, right?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it used to be the only way to do it. Like 20 years ago was telemark skiing. And since then, there's been a huge development in alpine touring bindings. And so now you can do it. Basically, you can skin up a mountain and ski down with the same kind of control that like racers have almost.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while. We used to snowshoe in, snowboard out, but
Yeah. Same
that's
kind of
different.
concept.
Yeah, now they have split boards, which
Yeah.
I should get into.
Yeah. Splitboarding is similar.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Alaska, were you helicopter skiing there or were you at a resort, or some of the photos are pretty epic from that.
So yeah, I usually do a lot of that alpine touring. So I have a lot of objectives, mountains that I kind of pick out earlier in the season. And for Alaska, you kind of have to spend a long time there because the weather can be very dicey. Sometimes you'll sit up there for like a week at a time before you get like an open window to ski anything. And so I usually it's all alpine touring. Yeah, which is just hiking up the mountain basically.
Is it, and that waiting period, is it because of avalanche danger or because they're getting such heavy snowfalls at
Yeah,
once?
well, the storms will move in because it's right on the coast. The Chugach is where I usually ski. That's right on the coast range, or it's not the coast range. It's right on the coast, and so you'll get like a lot of stormy weather, a lot of cloudy weather, a lot of flat light. So you kind of need like a sunny day to be able to complete.
To even get to where you need to get to then, huh?
Yeah, just so you can see, and it just like the safety goes up. Same with helicopter skiing. I mean, helicopter skiing, they don't really fly when there's very low visibility.
Makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, so people will book like heli trips, and sometimes they don't even get out.
Really?
And yeah, sometimes they nail it. And one time I went up there with some of my buddies, and we had all these objectives lined out, and it was stormy until the day we flew in, and then it was like we had 10 sunny days, and then the day that we stopped, the storms rolled in again. So we kind of like nailed this awesome window, and we were able to do some pretty awesome stuff. And then I've had other trips where I go up there with all these objectives, and
You're just grounded at that point.
yeah, you have to like ski the ski area.
Right.
But
Yeah, what you started the last time you were in here, which was a great conversation, man. I had so much fun with you the last time, dude. That was great. I urge anybody to go back and listen to that. Jeremy, I think you might have to look up that episode number. It was a while ago, dude. It was almost a year ago.
I think it was a little over a year.
Over
ago.
a year.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Time
in the
flies.
fall last year, I think. Early fall. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. You had mentioned that you started doing this at like 14 or 15, right? Like helicopter skiing was your first. Was your first heli trip?
I was younger than that.
Really?
Yeah. I went up there basically to visit my brother. He was going to college up there, and he's like 6 years older than me. And he was a freshman in college, and I was like, it was my first plane ride. I think this was 1998, I want to say. And
It was a good year.
the helicopter skiing in Alaska was just becoming like a public thing. And it was kind of gaining a lot of traction, and I was able to go up there. On that same trip, I really, really fell in love with music, and that particular trip kind of shaped my life. Like
Really?
since then,
I'm
yeah.
glad I brought it up there.
That particular trip, I've kind of focused the rest of my life on music and skiing since then, and nothing has really changed, which is kind of crazy.
It's rad is what it is,
It's
dude.
kinda crazy.
It's awesome. at the 14 or something, you made this decision that I'm going to be a musician and I'm going to ski.
Yeah, I think
Those were the two main
was,
focuses?
It was like 12 or 13. It was a little younger. Yeah, it was that particular trip. It was my first plane ride. I got up there, and my brother was studying music, and I was getting really into it. And then we went heli skiing, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to these two things. And so, like, when you're in, I guess, middle school, sports are a thing, and I was like really into all the intramural sports. And those kind of all went to the wayside, and I was like, at that age, I was like, I really want to focus on music and skiing. And then, so the rest of my early or late childhood and early adulthood, people were always like, well, which one are you going to choose, Mark? You got to choose one of these careers. And I just kept doing both of them, and I'm still doing.
Do you still get that question?
Well, no, because I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
So, and I have been able to make both of those careers kind of have this nice symbiotic.
It's kind of your signature, man. Really, I mean, it's.
Yeah, and I only do them because it's a passion-driven thing. I think like one of my favorite teachers in high school was like, well, whatever you do, if you're not passionate about it, you should probably rethink what you're doing. And I've always just been ultra passionate about skiing and music, and so there were some pretty lean years, but seems to be working.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. So the last time you were in, we dove all over this place on conversation like we always do in here. But bringing it back to heli skiing, like how many trips do you think you've been on, like helicopter rides to go ski?
Oh,
is it like thousands?
How many heli drops have I had?
Yeah.
Well, you have to consider like the weather, and then heli time is like ultra expensive. And so like on a good day of heli skiing, like a full bell-to-bell heli skiing day, you'll get like maybe 15 to 20,000 vert, which usually is about 8 to 12 runs. So 8 to 12 runs is a perfect day of bell-to-bell heli skiing. And I've probably had, maybe like 15 or 20 of those days, which is a lot, actually. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's probably not very good for the environment. But yeah, heli skiing is cool. I like it. It's really fun. The experience with the helicopter is really awesome.
I'm fascinated by helicopters, and the little bit that I've been able to be around them.
It's really cool. The cool thing about being in the mountains, though, it's kind of, heli skiing is a little bit cheating, because you look at those mountains. And
it's totally cheating, dude.
The helicopter like wisps you up in 2 or 3 minutes, whereas if I'm thinking about those mountains as an objective, it's usually a full day of hiking. Maybe 5 hours up, 6 hours up, and then maybe an hour
one
down.
Run, right?
Right, yeah. And so the heli skiing kind of it's such a wild thing because what would take me an entire day, I'm getting up there in 3 or 4 minutes.
Sounds awesome.
I know.
It's kind of crazy.
Everything with a helicopter is cheating. Whether you're getting medical care, like thank God we have free flight medical here in the state of Colorado, which is an incredible program. Shout out to Flight for Life and some of the other rescue programs here. But yeah, that's cheating. I mean, we've loaded in gigs from a helicopter. That kind of sucks. That's not. Like we did the Killers in Switzerland on top of some mountain, and every piece of gear had to be helicoptered in, and that took a long time.
Yeah.
Like that's the only time we weren't at an advantage, but we were also able to play a gig on top of a freaking mountain, you know, without having to go up in snowcats which we've done before, you know. When I used to do some of that Red Bull stuff, we would load in these huge concert stages and stuff on the side of a mountain with snowcats, which was fun in its own. Those are badass machines too. But yeah, helicopters make everything better, I think, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for the ozone layer.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, I would imagine it's crazy. Like if you book a United flight now, there's a thing that tells you how much carbon emissions you're putting off because they have to keep certain schedules. So people are buying their flights around carbon emission that the plane puts off.
Yeah.
Because think about how much we travel by air now. It's got to be way worse than what a car.
Yeah.
Especially with.
Can't be good.
Yeah. And I mean, there's flights. I mean, you see, that's one thing I've noticed, like from being a kid and spending time in the backcountry, especially during archery season, because it's so quiet. You're trying to be quiet. You know, you're trying to move during certain times, like when the wind's moving and maybe blowing some aspen leaves or something like that, so you totally don't get blown out on elk. But like, I started moving when planes were going overhead, and it's pretty much like, even on the western slope, man, there's planes crossing every like 10 minutes. It's almost kind of fucking annoying, honestly. Like when you're out there trying to enjoy nature, or if you're a photographer trying to take a landscape with no jet streams in it, good luck, dude. Like,
yeah, I think that's just, yeah. So yeah, I'll take those opportunities when they come to me. If somebody's like, Mark, do you want to go heli skiing? It's pretty hard to say no. Even though I know all that stuff.
right.
So,
but
yeah.
I don't think that, like, I don't know, maybe the industry is, but like your one trip for what you do, I mean, you probably make up for it in some other things by running, you know, or skinning into a lot of the top of these mountains. Like, how often do you skin in over taking a helicopter? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, helicopter skiing is like, I mean, you don't get very much heli time I've been skiing my entire life, you know, and like I said, I probably have like 20 days max of doing that. So, you know, as a lifetime skier, I probably have hundreds and hundreds of days hiking, but
probably thousands by now, I would think.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the math
winter's
is,
pretty
but
damn long, dude. Yeah.
yeah.
And then, have you done heli skiing outside of the country? I know you've been all over the world skiing, or skiing has taken you all over the world, and then music on top of that too.
Yeah.
Have you done any trips like in Europe and stuff?
I've done multiple trips in Europe, but it's always not heli skiing now.
Mm-hmm.
All the heli skiing I've ever done is in Canada and Alaska, pretty much.
The big markets for it, right? There's a little bit here, isn't there?
Well, it's just such a giant frontier. Alaska and Canada is so huge. It's pretty hard to like get to any of those mountains without a helicopter.
Right.
Especially Alaska, you know. I mean, Canada the same way. Like you can't get to any of those mountains like from the road.
Well, it's the same for anything that you're doing in the backcountry there, whether you're out exploring, an archaeologist. I mean, you're taking a brush plane in, hunting. Everybody takes brush planes.
Where like Europe, it's a little bit easier to get to those mountains because they've built trams on all the stuff you want to ski.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like take trams up and then, you know, use that as your launch point. Which is some of my favorite kind of skiing, you know, get that first, you know, 3,000 vertical feet out of the way, and then skin the last, 1,500. And then
Yeah.
it's kind of win-win, because then you have a big, huge descent,
Was it you the last time we were in here where you accidentally like skied from one country to another or something, and you didn't bring your passport? Or
Oh, I've skinned on accident, definitely from France to Italy, but I was pretty green at the time. And
Okay.
I was in Chamonix, and you can ski from France to Italy pretty easily. Yeah, that's a thing.
yeah, somebody was telling me a story like they they took off on a ski trip, and I don't know if they were traversing a mountain, or they might have even been in a ski resort, and they went down the wrong run or something and ended up in a completely different country. They might have ended up in France from Italy, and was like, shit, I don't have my passport. Like, I can't.
Oh,
Am I going to explain this?
Maybe I mentioned there's this crazy thing that happens in Italy where they have all these mountains are connected to each other. And if you if you're skiing, sometimes you kind of get lost and you're like, we'll just take that chair, take that chair, take that chair. And I do remember one time I ended up in the wrong ski area and I had to buy a lift ticket. Even weirder, I was skiing in Russia, in Siberia one time, and there's one mountain, and there's 3 lifts on the mountain, and each lift was owned by a different person, so you couldn't just ski all the lifts. You had to buy your ticket for the lift. This is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy one. Yeah,
That is pretty wild. Did you see any wildlife when you were out there? Like any?
In Siberia?
Yeah.
Well, no, we were there in the middle of winter, and God, it was so cold. It was so cold that you could take one run and then you had to go in and warm up. And I had some pretty technical gear on. It was so cold. But at the base of the ski area, where they usually sell hats and stuff, in Russia, they were selling full on wolf pelts, and, bear paws, and
Really?
honey, and it's just interesting.
Huh.
It's a different.
It's pretty wild.
country.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of touring up there, but it was all in major cities and stuff, and I never really got to experience the backcountry, but I just think of Siberian tigers and grizzly bears. Dude, that's a wild ass place if you think about it.
Mountains are incredible. If you look at the map, I mean, the mountains in Siberia are incredible. The Altai mountain range is incredible. It's so beautiful.
How many skiers have you run into, being in your community, that have skied there? That's pretty
Well,
Japan's huge, right? Japan, the Alps. I'm trying to think of where all, the hot spots for skiing.
Yeah. Well, Russia was a thing until about,
Recently.
we were
It's
able
not funny, but
we were able to travel there quite a bit in the late 90s and then the early 2000s, and then it kind of got shut down again. But
God, that looks like Colorado.
they had the Olympics there in 2014, I think, in Sochi.
Uh-huh.
But I went there before that happened. So I'll meet people that went to the Olympics. But I have yet to meet anybody who's been all the way out to Setagesh, which was where we were out in Siberia. Which is
That's
kind of
crazy.
But yeah, the mountains.
What was it?
are
Is there a
incredible.
lot of Sherpa type? Was it kind of that same sort of culture in mountaineering?
No, not really. I didn't see much of that, I think, you get that deep into Russia. It seemed to me like people were just trying to, survive out there in that. It was a pretty bitter environment. Some of those towns.
Kind of like Alaska, from Washington to Alaska here or something, right? Look at how much
without that kind of infrastructure. I mean,
yeah.
it's so deep out there between Barnaul and Sergish. It's like, it's very, very rural.
How the hell were you guys traveling there? I mean, was it
There's a road that connects the two.
you road tripped it to Siberia?
We took a flight from. I think we took a flight from Sochi. I think we had a layover in Moscow, and then we went to. You fly into Novosibirsk, and then it's like something like a 9-hour, 10-hour car ride out there. But that car ride was crazy because it was like blowing snow and deep, deep pow everywhere. Everywhere you look. And it's like 2-lane highway. And the car, and it's kind of it's a windy, windy road.
Really?
And cars are just, you're just like barely, nudging when big trucks drive by. It was a fairly dangerous road, but it lands you and basically you can see the Altai Mountains. It blew me away. I mean, that place, the wilderness of Russia is incredible.
It's so vast too. It's got to be one of the most vast,
Incredible.
like untouched places on earth, I would think.
Yeah, probably like totally. Because it's so huge. I mean, you look at it on a map and it's like Russia's huge. And then like it makes Canada look small.
Yeah.
And Canada's massive. That was such a cool experience. I hope everybody, I hope they can work out all that stuff, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on right now, for sure. That, I mean, people in Siberia aren't really affected, other than probably economically and scared, of.
Yeah, I think
that's
fear.
Russia in general, but like, man, it's such a different culture and country compared to where we live, like.
Oh,
The times that I was there, and I was there like post, Cold War stuff. So this was like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
I think anybody living up there isn't worried about shit.
Yeah.
They don't need to worry about
who's
being
gonna
touched
come-
by anything.
Right.
yeah, but it's a different cultural dynamic. I think we have it pretty good over here in America.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
we're
dude.
fucking around on like a podcast, and
Yeah.
there's plenty of countries who, they just don't have that same kind of freedom to be who you want to be. You can't just decide you want to be a guitar player, skier dude. In a lot of countries,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We're very, very lucky here.
ultra lucky.
Yeah. I mean, even some of those European countries, like when you get into Eastern Europe, like Romania and some of those spots like that, it's pretty impoverished and just third world type feeling, and just, it doesn't feel safe. Like, I think we have a false sense of safety here in America a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had to die for that
Yeah.
sense of safety, but
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So what's like in all your travels throughout all the years, what have you ever had any like just crazy experiences where you were like, God, I might not make it back from this, or any run-ins with like, because I know I've had some just from touring, when we were in Colombia, or like some of these third world countries can get a bit dicey.
Yeah,
Even when you don't want to be involved with anything, you kind of find yourself involved with it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I've never like had that sense of like I'm not coming home type of deal. Just because like when I'm out there like deep, you want to like keep yourself to yourself. My uncle did it the best, he kind of like really blended. He like really blends in with whatever culture. And when I went to Russia with him, for example, I was wearing like a big, bright blue hat and neon colors and stuff, and I totally stood out like a sore thumb. But now, and I've kind of learned, you kind of want to blend in, like when you're out there. But yeah, I've had some pretty interesting experiences in like Budapest or, rural Hungary. I've been in deep rural Hungary. But,
Skiing there?
no, that's playing music actually.
Okay.
I played that's about as far. Yeah, I think that's about as far as I've gone. I think that's like my comfort zone. That's about as far as I like to be from home.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that way now. When I was younger, I was like, send me anywhere. I want to go everywhere.
That's where I was too.
That's
yeah.
like, yes, we're going to the favela in, outside of San Paulo or whatever it was,
Yeah.
like, and that was awesome, man. I got to experience so much, and it's made me appreciate this so much more and America so much more. Like when you see somebody laying on a sidewalk with gangrene and they're begging for money, it's just a different level of poverty there,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it really has shaped me and made me appreciate the finer things that we do have here, man. And especially where we live now. Like this is,
Yeah. We got.
how can you beat this, man?
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty lucky. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Are you still up the mountain a little ways? Are you?
Yep. I
Okay.
live pretty close to Loveland ski area.
Nice.
And
Is Loveland open?
Yeah.
It should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a little trail. It hasn't snowed much, but yeah, I've been skiing here and there. Yeah, stoked. This winter is going to bring some fun trips. I get to go to Norway again, which was really cool. I think Norway.
That is beautiful country, man.
It's so cool.
It is, it's actually one of my favorite places. Like, I don't really consider leaving the country anymore, but there's two places that I'd probably go back to is Norway. We were doing some crazy like festival runs up there and got to go like to all these crazy festivals in the middle of summer.
Oh, cool.
And the mountains were just so beautiful. It was the coolest bus rides. Like,
Yeah.
whenever I was on a tour bus and like we were going, as soon as we were going into like BC or something like that, I was always in the jump seat, man, because I love just like seeing the mountains, or like going to Banff or some of those spots like that are just epic. I think that that's probably the coolest thing about your genre and what you kind of do. And you mentioned this the last time you were in, is just Rapid Grass just plays mountain towns pretty much, right? Like you guys aren't.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a mountain music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that when I very first started Rapid Grass, that was like my only goal was to like play mountain music for mountain people. And yeah, it's taken us to some really cool mountain zones. And it's like I have a lot of friends in like way more successful bands, but it's just a different world. In that world, you're more focused on like clubs in cities, where the population can fill out the club. And it's kind of funny. I like to go to like play music where no one is, which
Right.
is totally ass backwards. But
That's badass.
but it puts you in really cool places. And like selfishly, I'm always like, if we're going on a summer tour, I'm like routing this tour to like to be like, it's like a trail running tour. It's almost like the music is very important, obviously. But, I'm like, oh, how can we maximize this tour and have like the best trail running or skiing that we can? And so, yeah, I've been booking next year, and I'm really putting the hammer down on cool locations.
It's probably got to make you perform better on stage though, right? When you get there, like it's kind of like my routine coming in here. Like you want to go in your best state of mind, right?
Yeah, I just like to live my life like that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great philosophy.
I just like to have that aspect of nature just kind of like helps fuel everything, the creativity and you're less irritable after you've been in the sun for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of positives that come out of being in nature, and it just probably comes out on stage too. Yeah, when you're singing. So
has Rapid Grass been in the studio at all? I know like the last album you guys released was a few years ago, right?
The last one we recorded was in Banff at the Banff Center during the Banff Mountain Film Festival, and we released that.
I forgot the name of the album, but does that have Gang of Angels on it?
Yeah.
And I love that song, by the way, dude.
Yeah.
That's an incredible song.
That's a cool one.
I love that
Alex
song.
Johnstone actually wrote that one. That one's amazing. That's one of the best songs on that album. We released that in 2020, and then, for the whole music industry, when that COVID hit, it was just like
was that pre or post?
We recorded
pandemic?
it pre, and then we released it during the pandemic. Like I think we released it like August something 2020, and it didn't get a ton of traction because I think people were just still like kind of dumbfounded by the mask COVID thing, and then everybody came out of COVID, and then 2021 was like, well, can we do concerts? You got to stay 6 feet apart, and then 2022 happened.
So crazy.
And so now I'm like, I started focusing on my own stuff, and I released a couple of like videos,
like solo type stuff.
Yeah, or just like different than just like bluegrass, or like that kind of like string band style. And
well, it's pretty cool. I saw the music video of the song that you released in here, and I'm sorry I don't know the name of it, but you played it in here for the very first time, sitting in that seat.
Yeah, and then I made a video of it.
The video is awesome, man.
And I recorded it. I recorded it with Ben's brother Mark.
Nice.
Mark Anderson.
Yeah.
And
shout out. Those guys, that's an awesome family, man.
Dude.
That whole family is
And Mark
incredible.
is the man these days with that audio production.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't really want to work with anyone else, but
awesome.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Is his studio here in Colorado, or
he has like a studio in Evergreen? Yep. And
really,
but you can rent studio space out, and then he can come in and engineer it and stuff.
all.
So we're actually working on a new one. We were just working on it today, actually, and I think we just put the final puzzle piece in today, and then we sent it off to mastering. I filmed a video for it last week, and I'll be releasing that new video and a new single here at the end of December.
Hell yeah.
I think right after the holidays, I'm going to release it, and it's that'll be a cool one. And then Rapid goes into the studio late December and then early part of January, to where I think we'll have something like a new album probably by April, or I'm hoping by April or May. Probably May. I think we'll probably do our album release party at Paddlefest in Buena Vista.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, which is cool because a lot of these new songs are kind of about, floating down the river, boating down the river.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, keep an eye out for that. That'll be cool. And then we'll have some new material from Rappergrass coming up. So.
And then do you have touring booked already for the summer, or is it going to be kind of based after the album release, or?
I have a lot of stuff booked, yeah. So
yeah, it has really picked up for you, like in the last couple of years, right? Like,
yeah,
or for the band in general too.
Yeah, and this year I back to Alaska. I love Alaska so much, and me and my wife were talking about possibly investing in a property there or whatever, and she's like, well, you need to find a job where you could just come up here for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I was like, I kind of have that job, duh. And so I'm doing this like big 3-week tour with Rappergrass in Alaska this year.
Awesome.
That'll be really, really cool.
I'm sure it'll be well received there. if
Yeah,
it isn't already. I mean, like you spend a lot of time up that.
Yeah,
in that region,
and
right?
Rappergrass has toured Alaska before. So, and yeah, I mean, they love it. It's mountain music for mountain people. You know, you're singing about whitewater and trees and birds and eagles and, you know,
Yeah.
all the stuff that's outside that inspires us. So there's no shortage of that up there.
Yeah, I guess like all the bands that I worked for, it was all about like arenas, right? So it had to be wherever there was a major sports team, or where the only time that I really got to go experience some of these places, like we've been showing up here, is at some of these festivals that were kind of like off the beaten path, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Buena Vista has one of those now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a huge one, right? Like it's a huge country festival that happens out there, country and bluegrass, right?
Yeah, it was called Seven Peaks, and it was a festival put on by Dierks Bentley, and I've actually since made friends with Dierks, but yeah, the idea was Seven Peaks, right under the Collegiate Peaks, have a big festival there, but you know, Colorado, it's hard to like throw a rock and not hit a music festival these days.
Yeah.
But
Huge influx.
yeah,
A lot of party material here.
yeah, and a lot of people move here and they're ready to party.
Yeah.
So
Music for me really fits. I guess it's kind of whatever I'm doing. Like I am a metalhead through and through. I love punk rock, but I will put on bluegrass when I'm like going up fly fishing or something like that, or heading up to
fits the
backcountry
mood.
stuff. Like your guys' music fits the mood. I'm a major fan. And I don't listen to a whole lot of other bluegrass music, I guess, per se, but it's just like the lyrics, the songwriting, I mean, just a little bit of influence that you guys have from, and you especially from like that outlaw country type vibe. I know we did a deep dive on that last time.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool because like if I'm listening to some sort of folk music, I love like the old like Johnny Cash's and Willie Whalen, the Highwaymen, you know, like stuff that when I was a kid that, you know, my grandfather was listening to or something like that.
It's
Like
the best.
that's not music. This is music, you know. Like,
Yeah.
that's not country music.
yeah, that's
Who's this
the
George
best.
Strait guy, you know? Like,
Dude,
Yeah.
outlaw country's the best.
yeah.
I know, that's my favorite stuff, is that Willie and Waylon stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of making a little bit of a resurgence now too, with like your Zach Bryans. And
Dude, it's
some of-
never gonna
it's
die.
so cool.
It's
Yeah,
real country. That's real country. You know, some of the other stuff, I could take it or leave it, but some of that real country, like have you listened to Coulter Wall?
yeah.
I think that's
That's
real country.
incredible, man.
Trail
Like,
songs
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's kind of, I've always kind of, and I guess I really picked this up in touring and all the time that I spent in Austin and stuff is like back before it was kind of brought to the forefront with where just we are internet wise, like that red dirt country, like that felt very outlaw to me and kind of like underground and like, you know, there was a lot of rock and roll influence in that too. I think it was kind of like in Texas and like Arkansas, that whole little area right there, it was kind of like a punk rock culture, but for country music, you know?
yeah,
Very cool.
so cool. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of happening with the string band music too, because
Yeah.
a lot of that string band music came from Appalachia, whatever.
So like West Virginia.
Totally. And
Type it.
most of the songs are singing about Kentucky and Virginia and Tennessee. And I hadn't been to Kentucky, Virginia, or Tennessee until I was like in my mid-30s. So like but I liked the sound of that style. So I started singing about the mountains I grew up in, Colorado. You know, I was like, well, they're singing about their mountains. I'll sing about my mountains.
Hell yeah.
You know, so it's kinda,
Yeah, I guess, how did you fall, like, because the era that we grew up in, like you're 40 40 years
Yeah,
old, somewhere right
unfortunately,
around
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 44, so I got a few years on you.
Okay.
Be 45 pretty soon, which is crazy. But I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm 43 and going to be 44 in March.
Yeah, take it easy on yourself,
God
man.
dang, man. Calm down. It was like Jeremy, I was telling him the other day, I swore to God it was 2024. I was an old man. Like, because now that I don't have anything to really like, I don't really have to keep track of dates or years or anything.
Dude,
in here.
wasn't I telling you I was like a year off? Like I was walking around saying that I was the wrong age for like 6 months. And then I was, whoa, wait a second.
That's
This is what getting old is, dude.
Like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like nobody cares if
No
you're
one
44 or 46.
Right.
And oh, that was so funny.
That's wild.
That was many months I walked around saying I was 45.
So now that
I
we're
wasn't.
dating ourselves, I guess growing up, you know, like I was super into punk rock and metal, and I did like I didn't really like country music from that era, I guess. That's probably
The
why
90s?
I wasn't. Yeah, it sucked.
Well, there's some good 90s country
I mean, there was a
now.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who in the 90s, though, but like
Dude,
all the country.
Garth was the
Oh,
king.
Garth is still the king, man. Like,
Well, he really was in the 90s.
oh, yeah. When he was climbing the rope ladders and stuff at the gig. And like,
dude.
yeah, wild. I have a bunch of friends that are on his crew now.
Oh, nice.
And I guess he's one of the coolest people ever to work for. So
yeah, he was at the top.
treats his crew really well. But besides that, so like, I'm just wondering how you kind of fell into bluegrass, because as a young man, that's probably not the average genre that, you know, the rest of the herd listens to, or the rest of the kids. Like what?
Well, going back to that original thing when I went to Alaska when I was 12, I was like, my brother had picked up a mandolin. My dad played the guitar when we were growing up, you know, and he played like some old country songs and stuff. And my brother Timmy bought a mandolin, and I was always like, you know, trying to jump on Timmy's coattails because he was like my older brother, you know, cool kid. And he bought a mandolin, and he's like, well, the only genre you can play music in with a mandolin is either like really, really dorky classical music or bluegrass. So he started doing the bluegrass thing because there were bands that were already doing like string cheese, like Michael Kang.
Oh, that's right.
And
I guess that was a genre that I wasn't really into either, but
yeah, and I wasn't either. But when I was 12, you know, he gave me an album. It was a Bela Fleck and the Flecktones album. It was called Live Art. And I listened to that thing, and that was a big turning point in Alaska. Like, I'm telling you, this all happened at the same time. So I was like, holy cow, this is some... I was like, I have to be able to do that one day. So I just dove into the rabbit hole until I was like 27 or something.
is that when you first picked up a guitar, or were you playing up until
Well, yeah, my dad like was showing me chords when I was like 10. And then he was like, oh, well, the kid likes this thing. You know, get him one of his own. So my dad bought me a guitar, and then I was like playing it and like learning stuff. And when I heard that Bela Fleck album, I was like, oh my God, that is fucking insane. And then I remember after that, I really, really I've like completely fell in love with Willie Nelson. That music, that Willie Nelson music was insane. I had a girlfriend over on Stagecoach here in
I love
Evergreen.
this story.
And I would have to drive her, you know, because I was from Idaho Springs. So I would have to like drive whatever that is, 25 minutes just to come see her. And I had like the 18 classic Willie Nelson songs. And I would just listen to that. Because you don't want to listen to like Willie Nelson around your friends. You know, they were all listening to like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, and that's
like,
kind of what I
all
was
that
getting
stuff.
at. It's like everybody was listening to that sort of.
I was fucking jamming out to Willie and like the Bela Fleck thing. And then I got like really into this David Grisman stuff to where I thought that was bluegrass. And then when all the kids from North Carolina moved to Colorado, I realized that was not bluegrass. It was like fusion music. and bluegrass was like a totally different thing. And so I just kept learning and learning and learning and learning until I got to the bottom of all that stuff. And now it just goes right back. I'm like, oh, well, Willie had it right the whole time.
Right. That's crazy. I mean, he's still doing it too. Like he just did a big thing this year, right?
Crazy.
For Willie's birthday or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. Have you gotten to meet him yet or?
No, unfortunately. Man, that would be pretty amazing. I'm actually here in a couple weeks. I'm doing this little run of concerts where Willie had one of his breakthrough albums was the Red-Headed Stranger album, and it's like this story. It's a compilation of like 12 or 13 songs, but it's just like a story from start to finish. The record is a big story.
It was like 1982 or 3, right?
I can't remember when he released it, but
Jeremy, you got to look this up.
I really dug into that, and we're gonna like do that entire story because each song is a part of the story. It revisits itself, and it's about the guy, and so that's. But yeah, I never got to
75.
Never got to meet
1975.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that as a kid because we only had like certain records in the house, right? It was
Yeah.
like, and we had that old school like record player. It was
Yep.
like weighed 700 pounds that had like the built-in speakers,
Yep.
and it was like some green velvet backed like
Totally.
like the drawers or something were like it looked like a pool table almost. You know what I mean? It
Oh,
was
yeah.
probably as heavy as one with the amp and everything, and you could crank that thing up too, dude. Like it would play some music and you could hear the needle, rolling on the record.
Oh, it's so good.
Of course, all of our records were stored improperly and stuff, and there was big scratches in them and stuff. And, but yeah, it was like the Eagles, Willie, Waylon, some Chris Christopherson, like I'm trying to think of who else, Bob Seger, like, so it's kind of like that outlaw country, and rock and roll was the only thing that was in
Yeah.
my house. Maybe a few Stones albums or something,
Yeah, my dad took a lot of pride in his record album, and I grew up in a family. There were 6 kids, and my parents, and we grew up in a pretty small house in a holler, literally a holler, like where Chicago Creek meets Clear Creek.
Yeah.
And like after dinner, my dad would sit down and play the records, and that was totally it. And it was like he would play a lot of Willie, Waylon, a lot of like singer-songwriter stuff, and then like Pink Floyd. And then like now that I'm an adult, like I look at the stuff I listen to and I'm like, holy shit, that's like all the stuff I listen to. Pretty like,
Yeah.
because
It's funny. I go
love
back
Pink
to
Floyd,
it. I
too.
listen to a lot of classic rock, man.
Dude, yeah, there's some
Like,
good stuff.
there's
in
some
there. The Beatles
really,
and-
really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible stuff. It doesn't, like, it's what the old men used to say, like they don't make music like they used to, or like that sort of type of.
There's some great stuff out there, though.
Yeah, I think it's
mean-
made a resurgence, though, is what I was getting at with like the
Yeah.
way social media is, and like anybody can have a platform. I mean, look at me. I got
Yeah.
a platform right now, dude. You're on it,
Totally.
Thank you for being here. But yeah, I think that there's so many ways to show your art now. I think it's super cool. I think that is one positive
awesome.
thing that's come from social media or TikTok or whatever. I mean, there's people that have made there's people that have won Grammys.
Totally.
That started
It's crazy.
on a YouTube video or something, It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and there's if you think about like some of those singers and singer-songwriters like in the 60s and 70s who were never heard. A lot of that, they were never heard because none of it was ever documented. Now we can just like document it on whatever.
I mean, your iPhone's good enough to actually record some decent audio,
Yeah.
and video is unbelievable on the thing. I mean, there's so many people that are using their phones for so much.
Yeah. And then people are like, well, why are you making this?
And it's instantly available too. That's the other
That's the
thing.
cool
Before
thing,
you had to like get it in a store. It had to be on the right spot on the shelf so people would see it. Like,
Have to have the electronics.
you had to be on
play it.
Johnny Carson or something to like really hit it big. You know what I mean? Like,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, so then the motivation of making art is just to make art at that point in the game. Because if you're making art to get views or likes or whatever, that doesn't make any sense. But
It does start to distort it, right? Like,
yeah, and I was talking to Mark Anderson about that, Ben's brother, and he's like, the whole point of making art is just to document art and just keep making art and keep making art. If somebody likes it, great. If people don't like it, fine. Just make art.
Yeah.
Create art, you know.
yeah, I think that's something that can easily be done. You know, I mean, we're even guilty of it here. Like the editors that I have are like, this is what makes a better reel, or this is what clips we want to take from the podcast so we get more views.
Yeah, well, obviously
Right?
we want it to get viewed and we
Yeah.
want it to be liked, but at the end of the day, just the motivation behind making art shouldn't be that. It should just be like to make the art.
Right. And I wouldn't call this art in here. This
I
is
don't
like
know. I mean,
it's a couple guys sitting down having a
Yeah.
conversation, and that's what I've wanted it to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I've never really had an agenda or I haven't had an agenda. This was just like something. It was like I came from the live entertainment industry, and that completely shut down. And this is something that I enjoyed, and I kind of fell in love with, and I felt was like kind of a little bit of the future. And I felt that this, as many times, and you probably understand this, like being in the limelight, you're not always portrayed for who you are sometimes. Like if they do an interview with you or something like that, like they can cut it up and edit it into anything
Oh yeah.
that they
it's
want
crazy.
to make you sound like some of the bands I've worked for, we've done like some DVD shoots where we're at Royal Albert Hall for like 4 nights, right? They recorded 4 nights. They put out 1 DVD. They wanted to interview the crew as like bonus footage. And they were all shocked when I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, that's not what I guess I never wanted to be in the limelight. So a bunch of the crew members did it. And then the way that they edited it and portrayed it all, everybody looked like a bunch of jackasses. And these are people that work their asses off every day and are professionals. And I mean, even though we have fun and banter with each other, and you know, there's that kind of camaraderie that happens on the road like that. But those are the only clips that they took out, was like, you know, calling somebody a jackass or something like that. Like there was none of like people actually doing their job. So I was always kind of like turned off by the way that sort of stuff gets portrayed, especially when there's like an executive producer or something involved. So I think that's where podcasting, I think, has really come in, is it's green lighted to where you can truly be yourself, and for better or worse, you know, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creative. I mean, it's creative.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I think it's creative in the sense of who we book and like some of the artwork that we put out, like the covers, and but a lot of it is relying on who's sitting across from me, you know? Like I think it's super cool. Like I'm so humble with the people who have said yes, including you, you know, like, because how often do you get to sit down with somebody and really have an uninterrupted conversation where you're like, you're just there to talk, dude.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
it, you know?
documented. That's cool.
Yeah. And I think I've learned so much in here from different people, a different perspective. I think having a different perspective, or having another perspective from something, has changed my mind on some opinions or some way of thinking that was ingrained in me, you know,
Yeah.
through other influences or just growing up. Like, you know, it's made me realize that too. Like growing up, like I think you're kind of ingrained with what your parents gave you. Luckily I had, you know, I wasn't around. My mother was really good. I grew up with a single mother, And she kept me very sheltered from bad influences that could have been in my life really easily. So,
Nice, lucky
yeah,
kid.
gang of angels, dude.
There it is.
Yeah. So, what do you have coming up recently? You're going to be in the studio a little bit. You guys are playing some winter festivals too or something, right? Like coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go for the next month. We're working on some pretty fun Rappergrass stuff. I'm releasing an awesome video and a new single, and then Rappergrass hits the studio in January, and then I go on like a ski tour with Rab Equipment, starting in February. And that takes me to Norway and Europe, and I get back from that, and I go back to Alaska to bag some big peaks. Well, there's a Canada trip in there too. I go to Canada, heli ski.
Yes.
and then I go back to Alaska, and then I go to there's a really cool festival in Baja called Baja Wondergrass, and it's in La Ventana, and it's like a kite surfing forward festival with music.
Baja's great, man.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Then I get home from that, and then I go on my 5th Rhythm and Sales.
Okay, is that where you
journey.
filmed some of this last single that you released, like the
Totally.
music video?
Yeah, we filmed
That
the
looks
entire video
awesome.
on that. Yeah,
That was incredible beaches. It was like sea to summit, dude, really, or summit to sea.
yeah, we
You
had.
know?
Yeah, I filmed some of it at Red Rocks,
Yeah.
and then we were like, oh, let's. When we had downtime, we had a drone. I'm like, dude, let's get some shots. Let's make a video. So we made that video. So I'll do that, and then by then it'll be summertime nearly again.
So I know Rapid Grass's music is available on iTunes and all the major platforms. Is Mark Morris available as well?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
okay.
It's just
I never even knew that, dude.
smaller catalog.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just now building it. So yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm kind of have a new idea about releasing music instead of releasing like full albums at a time. I'm just gonna do a bunch of singles, and I'll probably do 4 of them a year for the next decade. So if I do that, but making music is, to make something that you're like happy with, it takes a long time. Me and Mark started working on this song I'm about to release over a year ago. And last night we finally were like, okay, there it is.
Nice.
So it takes a long time to make music, to make it to where.
If you care about it, right? Like,
Yeah, and I'm pretty particular about little nuances in it. It's easier to make it with a band because we have a band dynamic and like, oh, that's the sound. Like we made that Rappergrass album in Banff in like a week and a half. With my own music, I'm a little more particular. So
yeah. With good reason, though. I mean, I think
Well, it just
that's
can
part
be,
of being an artist. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
kind of nice.
So what platform is the best to go get? Do you have like a YouTube channel or something where your videos are at?
Yeah, or follow me on Instagram. I
Okay.
mean, that's a pretty easy way to watch them.
Yeah.
Everyone's on Instagram all day anyway.
Yeah.
Just head on over to me.
I've checked out of it big time. That's
have
one
you?
thing I have lately. I
Nice.
just I think what's really gotten me down from it is just all the advertisement. Like I used to love seeing my friends just crush it all the
Yeah.
time, and I still enjoy that, but I wish there was a way to like pay Instagram, if you're listening, or Meta or Facebook, whoever owns this. I would pay a subscription fee to not have ads because it's a waste of my time to go on there and just see. It's just like ad after it seems like it's progressively gotten worse each time I go on, but I want to go on and see you in Alaska and my buddy Beto in Alaska and my buddy Scott Parker. I want to see what they got going on, I don't know. It's just so, I just wish there was a way just to do that.
Well, there
some
is.
sort of
You
setting.
just go straight to someone's page.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's probably the easiest way to do that.
But even then, like, so I went to your page, for example, and I start scrolling down it, and there's an advertisement place there because you're a popular enough guy.
Yeah, they throw ads in
Yeah,
there.
they throw ads in.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's probably or YouTube. Yeah, YouTube
Yeah.
is the same fucking way, man.
Oh, it is.
You
Yeah.
start a YouTube.
But they do have a
anything
premium thing where you can pay $15 or whatever in there.
for no ads.
No
Yeah.
ads.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, not to shit on Instagram, but anyways,
But yeah,
go follow Mark.
for the-
Lonesome Pony, right?
Yeah, Lonesome Pony.
At Lonesome Pony.
Yeah, Mark
It's Instagram.
Morris.
Hell yeah. So if people wanted to come see you or Rapid Grass live, is there any performances coming up soon?
Yeah, totally. Let's see. This weekend, December 2nd,
This weekend.
we're playing at the Riverwalk Center in Breckenridge.
This won't be out by then.
Oh,
Okay.
shoot. Oh, that'll be cool. When is it going to be out? Oh,
I got to look at the calendar. We're a little bit backlogged right now. Jeremy, can you pull up a calendar maybe? Just a Google calendar or something.
well, let's just shoot for the spring. Okay, if you're listening to
yes.
this, hopefully this will be edited by the spring.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to look at this, dude. This is
Yeah, you don't wanna
psychopath shit
listen to that.
right here.
Okay, so in the springtime in April, I'm playing Baja Wondergrass.
Okay.
And Baja Wondergrass is going to be one of the coolest beach festivals on the planet. And there's a lot of really awesome bands. It's going to be a small, intimate thing. And that's basically winterwondergrass.com. That's a great one. That's in April. In May, you should come on Rhythm and Sales with us.
What?
Rhythm and Sales.
Okay.
And that's rhythmandsales.com. And that is a music festival that goes through the Caribbean. And I understand if you can't afford either of those two destination festivals. And if you want to check us out.
So is part of your ticket the transportation or something? Or how does that festival work?
Yeah. So Rhythm and Sales is an awesome festival that the music happens on catamarans.
Really?
And we sail through the Grenadines.
Never been there. Looks amazing,
yeah,
though. It sounds amazing.
It's probably the most incredible musical experience you can imagine because there isn't a huge crowd. The food is amazing. The water is lukewarm. The beaches are amazing. The people are amazing. And you're on a catamaran sailboat.
Is this something that's been going on for a while, or is this something that you and some of
so
your
this is
friends
the
have started?
This is the fifth one coming up. And it's basically a sub company from Icelandic.
Yeah.
And so this particular trip was a lot of people from Green Sky Bluegrass, and me and Jay Cobb and Charlie Rose from Elephant Revival, the Fruition guys. So that one happens in May. And if there's still seats available by the time this podcast comes out, I would highly, highly, highly suggest jumping on one of these trips because it is the most incredible thing ever. If you want to stay local and you're in Colorado and you want to see Rapid Grass, we're playing, we're going to do our album release party in Buena Vista, May 20, I think it's May 26th at Paddle Fest. Paddle Fest is a big kayaking festival. And if you want to check out Rapid Grass, that's going to be a free show. And South Main, Buena Vista, and that's going to be amazing. And so there's 3 options, one in Mexico, one in the Caribbean, and one right here in Colorado.
Hell yeah.
So
Awesome spots.
yeah.
Destination concerts. Really?
Totally. Yeah. And just if you'd like to check out what other music we're going to be doing for 2024, just go to rapidgrass.com. Rapidgrass.com. And we'll have all of our tour schedule up, by February or March.
Nice. And then if people wanted to see what you're doing on the pro skiing level, because we haven't even talked about that really, is that all through Instagram too, or do you have?
Yeah.
Are you working on film or anything with that?
Well, I've recently become the athlete manager for RAB equipment. So I'm kind of like moving into like coach role.
Nice.
And so to follow that, it's lonesomepony.ski would be the website, or my website, or my Instagram. So lonesomepony.ski, I'll be publishing, stuff about trip reports, etc. And then I always like to do the stories on Instagram, so that usually I update those every day, nearly.
I love the music that you put up there, where it's like you jamming out with somebody that you ran into at one of these festivals, or some of your friends, or people that aren't necessarily in your band. I think they're so cool, but they're only there for a short time and then they're gone. They're like, God, I wish I had this to go back and listen to.
Yeah, maybe I should publish more of that stuff.
You should, man. I'll listen to it.
Yeah, so lots of opportunities to come see us. And if you do come see us, come say hi. One trip that's going to be really cool is this River Wondergrass. And we're going to be going rafting down the Gates of Lodore on September 12th through the 15th, I believe. And the Gates of Lodore, keep scrolling all the way at the bottom. September 12th through the 15th. It's a 4-day trip on the Green River. It's the best time of the year to go rafting because there's no bugs. They take care of everything. All you got to do is like show up. We get in a raft. It's pretty manageable water, but still very fun. If you're listening to this and you're still listening to this podcast and you want to come check us out, I would go down the Gates of Lodore and that's Winter Wondergrass, River Wondergrass, and it's the 4-day Gates of Lodore.
So
trip.
These Wondergrass type festivals are kind of more of like an excursion music festival, right?
Well, it's more of an experience. It's a musical experience that combines, like I do one in the winter called Heligrass, where we all go heli skiing and then we play music. I do one in Baja where we all go kite surfing and then we play music. I do one in the Caribbean where we all go sailing and then we play music. And then this one will be we all go rafting and then play music. So it's more of like rather than just going to a concert, walking in the door, drinking 5 beers and then coming home. It's an experience, where you can come on these trips, hang out, you get to meet the musicians, which is really cool. And it's more of an intimate experience because you're not like looking on this giant stage at them. You can just watch them play music with 30 other people, which
that's very unique, man. Who else is doing this sort of thing? Like,
well, I all kind of developed out of COVID, really. I mean, the Heligrass thing kind of developed because it was heli skiing. It was like, well, who wants to come see music while heli skiing? And people are like, oh, I'll sign up for that. And then these other smaller boutique events, I've kind of focused my music. I do like playing in front of big crowds, Obviously, that's like the biggest adrenaline rush in the world. But,
is it over skiing?
It's one of them. I mean, it's incredible when you're playing in front of 10,000 people who are all focused on your music. It's quite a rush, yes. But lately, I like to like do these smaller experiential music trips, like the rafting one or the sailing one, heli skiing or the kite surfing thing, just because it adds just like another element to where it's not just like, oh, I bought a ticket at this venue, we're going to go watch these guys play the guitars and then leave. It's like, oh, we can get to know this person on the water, rafting down the most some of the most beautiful fucking places on the planet. I mean, the heli skiing thing happens in Canada. It's mind blowing. Baja is like one of the coolest places. Jacques Cousteau said Baja was the most biodiverse place he's ever been. Then the Caribbean, if you've never been to the Caribbean, it's incredible.
It's wild.
Absolutely insane. There's turtles everywhere. And then the Gates of Lodore on the Green River, it's like the mini Grand Canyon. It's like so incredible. So you combine all of these awesome elements and it just makes the music better. Like I was saying about, like, you asked me earlier, do you like express any of your inspiration or anything you get from the mountains out of that? Yeah. And it can happen in real time on these trips. And that's why these trips are so special, because it all happens at the same time. And it's just like this magical experience.
That's awesome.
On these trips.
No, it's so unique. Like, other than that, people think of going to a concert or going to a musical event is you're going to a concert and you're going to get shuttled in with everybody else and watch a band come on the stage for an hour and a half. It's a much more immersive. It's really cool. So when you guys do the Green River, are you camping along the 4 days? Is that kind of
it's like it's a raft trip.
Yeah.
If you've never been on a raft trip, it's basically
so badass.
Yeah,
Floating is like there's something special about it, man.
Yeah, it's. I did one time right out of COVID. It was sponsored by this company called Kavu. It's a company out of Seattle, and they took a bunch of like really pro kayaker bros, like Rush Sturgis and Tyler Brott and Lane, and they brought us all down the Grand Canyon. They're like, Mark, you can play music with this fellow Jenner Fox. And, you know, it's just like so special when you're at the bottom of the canyon and there's only 30 people, you know, and then you do it again the next day and then the next day and then the next day. And we had 21 days of that. Like,
wow.
So this Gates of Lodore one's 4 days. So each night you're basically buying 4 concert tickets, a trip down the Green River. You get all your food.
So it's like a catered experience.
I mean, you just have to show up.
So do you have to have some sort of
river experience
or anything? Like, it's all guided?
It's all guided.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and each boat has its own guide.
What a great way to experience nature
and
music all at the same time.
I mean, the rhythm and sails thing is no different.
Right.
I mean, we are...
So do you become part of the boat crew at that point where you're like putting up sails? And
oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the musicians they're
badass.
also there to be the part of the boat crew. But, you know, we have chefs and stuff. So it's pretty posh, you know. And you can, if you pay a premium, you know, you don't have to do anything. And the cabins are beautiful.
How much do you like those guys, though?
What's that?
The premium people.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Because they're causing the trip to happen.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, you know, then there's that Baja trip, which is awesome because, you know, everyone's having fun on the beach, kite surfing, wakeboarding, or not wakeboarding, I'm sorry, kite surfing or
skimboarding,
wind surfing,
Wind surfing, yeah.
skimboarding.
There's so many things: parasailing,
Whatever.
wind sailing, fucking.
And then everyone meets on the beach and has a magical musical experience, and that's going to be that's a 3-day festival. That's going to be small and intimate. I think there's only going to be 500 tickets sold to that. Those are my favorite musical experiences. So I was saying, you know, playing in front of 10,000 people is quite a rush, but then you go on one of these trips.
It's so badass.
It is so memorable because then you meet people, and you know, it's just more. The fabric is just. It's just like.
I mean, seeing any sort of
so
artist
cool.
in a more intimate setting, whether it's a smaller theater, small comedy club, whatever, you know, like I grew up in the Ogden Theater watching punk bands, and that's so much more intimate than when Warped Tour came along or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
It's just so different.
Yeah, but imagine if you could go heli skiing all day, and then watch your favorite artist with 30 people.
I don't know that I could go heli skiing all day. I could ride in the helicopter all day, but
because that's a trip
I might not survive.
That's a trip we did called Heligrass.
Yeah,
and
that's so badass.
That's heligrass.com.
Jeremy might be able to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure out of all of those,
the Caribbean one sounds the most appealing to me, dude. I'm a beach. I love the beach, man. Not as much as I love the mountains, but like, there's a reason I moved to Southern California and lived there for a long time. Like, the beach life is pretty damn good, dude. Like,
yeah, beach life.
I got a little taste of it last week. The gig that I was on, the only mode of transportation was either electric scooter or a bicycle, so I chose a beach cruiser.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, instantly made me want to drink. I was like, those were my drinking days of bar to bar on the beach cruiser.
Totally.
I think at one point, it got so out of hand that the police down there started giving DUIs on if you were on a bike.
Or
Like, people were dying, yeah.
Yeah.
Like trying to cross PCH, at 8 o'clock at night, wasted, coming back from the pier or something, and like taken out. But
So instead, they're all on Lime scooters now.
yeah, it really
These are
is.
way faster.
Yeah.
And
Can you
smaller
get a
wheels.
DUI on a Lime scooter? I would think
sure.
so, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that
You
is
get dead
just
on
a
one of those
money
even quicker,
making
too.
machine, dude.
Yeah.
Because like, you come out of the bar and there's 50 of them
Yeah,
parked
they're
there.
just
You
waiting
know,
for you.
it's like
Yeah,
Scan this and you can ride it.
I got to tour Australia this year with this band called Green Sky Bluegrass, and we were renting those Lime scooters everywhere. It was so fun.
yeah.
Oh my god, we were just raging around,
Just bombing?
Melbourne. Yeah, it was so great, dude.
That's the one. That's my complaint. Is like, I don't like riding scooters for some reason. Like, I have something against them. I don't
You
know
feel
why.
silly until you're.
I do feel
until you're
it's-
2 beers
it's a
deep.
self-conscious
I mean,
type
whatever.
thing.
These are great.
But I would hop
I
on a
think
moped. Like, I've done that in like Uruguay. We rented mopeds with surfboard racks and went all over
Yeah,
Uruguay.
it's the
Like,
jam.
it was crazy, man. We ended up like in this hooker forest, dude. Like, it was the strangest thing. Like, I didn't partake, but I was like, what are all these girls in bikinis standing on, the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
And there was just trucks like pulled over, and we finally figured it out. But God, some of the best surfing. That was an incredible surf trip. That was so much fun, man. Yeah, but I'll happily get on a moped, but a scooter, I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm a bigger man of stature. I'm kind of a germaphobe too, and I feel like in those
Those things
downtown
are grody,
environments,
man.
like, who's going around cleaning those things, right?
Nobody.
Like, yeah.
It's not good. I saw some homeless
Slick
dude.
the handles,
I
dude.
saw some homeless dude doing some weird stuff in DC to those
Yeah.
those community bikes.
Right.
Made me not want to get on them again.
Yeah, see, I would rent one of the city bikes or whatever. Like, I've rented those in New
No, not
York
if
to
you're
get
a
around
not if
and
you're a
stuff.
germaphobe.
Yeah,
You don't want to tow those things.
those aren't too bad. But you have to return them to like a certain spot. What's crazy about the Lime scooters is there's just be like a
ditch 'em.
pile of them at the end of the night. It's like pickup sticks. Mark, thank you so much for coming in, dude.
Yeah,
this has
dude.
been awesome.
I'll bring my guitar next time.
Yes, please do.
Sorry about that.
I had a whole idea, so we'll go ahead and end this. So thank you everybody for listening. Go follow Mark. More importantly, go catch him live. If you can afford to get on one of these immersive trips, definitely do that. Super cool, man. I love having you in here. You're welcome anytime. We're neighbors, so thanks for being here, dude.
Yeah, we'll do a musical one next time.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.